All right, I'll call the Wisconsin Rapids Waterworks and Lighting Commission meeting to order. The first order of business is the approval, additions, or correction to the minutes of the regular commission meeting held on February 12, 2020. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll so move. I'll second.
Okay, Rick made the motion and Scott second. All in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, action items. Request to hire a limited term summer employee and set pay scale.
We have requests from summer help. Generally, as you recall, we hire typically 3 to 4 summer help. Dale in the water department is requesting 2. I think the information with respect to that's in your packet. And also the office is requesting 1 for the fun summer disconnect season. And the pay scale, we upped it last year by 50 cents an hour. It's $11, and it's recommended you keep it where it's at.
I would move for approval.
I'll second that.
Okay, John made the motion to approve the hire, and Rick seconded it. Is there any other questions, suggestions? If not, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
I do have a question. What do we do for safety training for these folks that we hire?
Typically, we talked about remember repeat customers or students that we bring them up to speed again. We also can set up with Sean to go through some basic stuff for them.
Most of our people will be retiring, are
I wasn't sure if you were gonna handle.
from the previous year, and that's typically, we usually keep them for the 3 years they're in college or 4 years, so. But typically, we don't want them to do any more than they can't handle.
And we do have a safety orientation that we sit down with Dale and Josh. I mean, we usually get from electric, but Dale, the last few years, we've gotten water. Some of the repeat ones I'm not too concerned with. I still sit down and have a discussion with them. But anybody new that comes in, I usually sit down for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just to talk to them about things, make sure they're aware of what safety procedures they should be following, making sure they understand that if they don't know things, to ask questions, just really making sure they have that open line to question things and to make sure that they know what they're supposed to be doing. So, yeah, we usually have that right when they come in. Dale usually lets me know when they start, and we'll get one scheduled within the first week or so that they're here.
Anything else?
No?
Okay, 3.2, 2020 water supply.
It's that time of year again, we go out for our bids for water supplies for this year's construction season. We went out to 4 different vendors, as you can see in the thing here: Ferguson Waterworks, Core and Main, Aetna Enterprise, and First Supply. First Supply, you can see a note on there where they refused to bid this year again, but they're hoping that the changes in the company that maybe be on board next year or in the future to start the bidding process with them as well. Aetna, they just didn't bid at all. Didn't hear nothing back from them on that. I know last year they had issues with not being able to supply a full quote because they're based out of Michigan, so they can't get some things which are proprietary towards Wisconsin and local vendors. So that kind of kicked them out last year. So out of the 2 remaining, they had Ferguson Waterworks came in at $179,444.80 after package discount, and Core Main came in at $192,580.15 after their package discount was applied. So I guess it'd be my recommendation to go with the low bid of Ferguson Waterworks for the $179,444.80.
What do they supply? Pipes, valves?
Valves, pipe,
Fire
hydrants, fittings, whatever we need for water and construction services and so forth.
And what's our experience with them?
Very good, they're very good to work with.
They typically get the bid every year.
And once when I was here, that he did have it.
I'd make a motion to approve the water supply quote for Ferguson Waterworks in the amount of $179,444.80.
I'll second it.
Okay, Rick made the motion and Scott seconded it. Is there any other discussion, questions? If not, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the safety committee meeting minutes.
I was looking at goals and objectives for safety. It's talking about hearing conservation. Do we have any issues in terms of hearing conservation? Any folks that have loss of hearing?
Right here, John.
The last,
Other than affecting the commission.
that's not a deal. We have annual hearing conservation training every year. We have annual hearing tests every year. That's a regulatory requirement to monitor for that. I don't believe we had any shifts this last hearing test. Oh,
Just one.
Dale?
One.
Not me either.
It wasn't you? We had, wasn't the retest?
And it didn't pass.
That's right, we did have a shift. We had a shift this last time. So when we have a standard threshold shift with our hearing, that actually has to be recorded on our OSHA 300 DSPS 10710 form, just for our annual reporting. So we did have one shift. But yeah, otherwise we're doing all right.
It was stated here that there needs to be some repair on some of the trucks. What's the status of that?
Josh?
The first paragraph?
So the small repairs they made, we have to order 2 buckets though.
Okay.
We need 2 new buckets.
How long will that take? Another month
I
or so?
have no idea. Couple weeks, I would think.
We
Yeah,
have
factory direct, so.
to do dielectric testing in the meters, so.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments, questions? If not, the line superintendent's report.
What was the story with the failure of the, your last paragraph there, Josh? Line came down in the cold?
Yeah, so that was on 64th Street by Wet Rock in the cold snap we had. I guess I don't remember what day it was, but it was below 0 and the line just came down. It's probably a bad spot from storm damage still. I think we're gonna continue to find that for quite a while.
Would that be, it was hit, something stretched and a little
Yeah,
bit
so
of wind,
anywhere where
and all of a
trees
sudden it
hit-
falls?
Yeah, and then it's a weak spot that shows up in the cold.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? If not, the water department operations report.
So, would it be true that we haven't had any frozen lines this winter?
Correct.
And is that a record or has that happened before?
First time since I've been here,
Really? Okay.
about 28 years, so.
Wow, okay.
How deep is the frost this year? Do we really get that deep?
In the street, we had 2.5 foot, 3 foot,
Okay.
It was
And
pretty
that
cold
keeps
in
driving as you drive on it though.
diving on it, being bare and exposed, you know. But in the yards where the snow cover was, you could stick a shovel through it, there's
Yeah.
nothing there, so it helped a lot for service, not being frozen.
Yay for the mild winter.
It was. And what are the pictures, I take it as, did you
We had,
repaint the filter plant or something?
yeah, the east clarifier, the big unit, was in need of painting and stuff, so we had it sandblasted and repainted to preserve the integrity of the clarifier rather than letting things rust and deteriorate. So it was long overdue, it looks really nice.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
looks
looks
good.
good.
Great.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, customer support supervisor's report.
Just a comment that I had a constituent landlord mention to me specifically that they're very appreciative of the work between Lynn and Jeff, so it was nice to hear that.
You've talked to the people that own the different apartments, realtors, right? One time, about 2 months ago or 3 months ago.
Yeah, was that November, Linda? November we went there.
Often you plan on going every November or twice a year. I was just curious.
Well, if they want us there, we will definitely attend the meeting, but maybe we should make it an annual thing. I guess we'll have to consider that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a very productive meeting that we went to, and I think there was good information on both sides that was shared that, I think with the relationships that are there right now, I think it would be worthwhile to maybe make that an annual event, so.
Yeah, if you did it every November, it's proactive rather than reactionary.
Yeah. So the new 44 electric accounts, are most of those that, whatever that Pine Grove or whatever that is, the River Grove
Yes.
complex, okay.
Where's the River Grove complex?
That's the 4-story behind Centralia?
Is that open? That's not open yet, is it?
Oh, must be getting pretty
The
close.
meters just went in during
Oh.
February, but they're
Okay.
still, I think they're still in construction.
Are they?
It looks like that's a-
Yeah. And how many units is that, Scott?
I think 48,
40.
something like that, in the 40s.
Any other questions of Lit? If not, the Director of Finance report?
Some of those 3% CDs are looking very attractive these days, huh?
They are these days, yes, unfortunately, we don't have as many as would be nice, but.
You know, again, you brought up about the loss for in January. Is that when you take the hit for vacation benefits? And of course, Todd bought poles and wire and now Dale's buying plumbing supplies.
Yeah, January is usually a bad month just for the utility, just mainly because of the benefits and whatnot. We take the expense the first month of the year.
Anything else of Jeff? Okay, Information Systems Administrator.
Yeah, so what's the deal with the phone system going? It seems like it's the last, year or two, it seems like the phone system's been going out a lot.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Of course, that a lot is a couple times a year or something, but.
But every time the phone system goes out, it's a different issue. It's never the same one twice.
Okay,
So at least we're fixing some of them, but then new ones pop up. It's kind of hard to nail down.
okay.
We're working on some ideas to try to figure out how to make it better.
Our phone system's nearing the end of its useful life. That was one of the, we got it, we replaced about everything, but that was one of the things we replaced early on. We took one upgrade, I think, in this time since. but it wasn't a full phone upgrade, and we did not budget it for this year, but don't be surprised if we come back and may want to do something with the phones, just as an FYI. Matt hasn't had time to look at the alternatives yet, but in the next couple months, we might be.
Is there any, what's normal? You know what I mean? So are we now at a point where we're normal or we're abnormal or?
Well, if you pay attention to the 911 and the call center over there at Wood County, and you pay attention to Nixle
Yeah.
reports, you'll see
Yeah, they're out
a
too.
handful of times a year that their phone will go down,
Right.
comes back up an hour later or so.
Is there-
So if you can use that as a comparable, we're about normal.
Yeah. Okay.
Is a lot of that the handsets on desks? Is that where it's not
No,
gonna be? Or
it's
the
usually-
system in general cannot be upgraded much past where it's now?
No, because the system that we have now is Toshiba, and they actually sold off their entire telecom section. So
Okay.
the system we have, the manufacturer no longer makes anything for it.
That's always a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't make the rotary dials anymore, right?
Nope, no,
That's-
not that either.
So we're in the process of evaluation.
Okay. But it's good that it's communicated. I see it on Facebook
Yeah.
or whatever, that, our phones are.
We
are
try to
down or
let-
whatever.
And we try to let the customers know as soon as we know.
Anything else? If not, the conservation manager report.
Just wanted to mention that Sean's still getting referrals from his presentation at Rotary. What was that, a month ago, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
So still, the information is still resonating, so.
And Jim and I were just talking about the solar updates, and it looks like Aspires Hospital is gonna install something on their roof.
Yes, they're gonna install a 140 kW array system, rooftop array system. I received a letter authorizing me to release low profile data to the solar installer that is doing the project. So that's been sent over. It'll have a slight impact on their energy consumed, possibly a 1 to 2%, since there's 4 services there. So it won't be a huge loss, I guess, as far as what they're purchasing from us. But it'll assist them.
Okay. Any other questions of Sean? If not, Director of Engineering and Electric Operation report.
Nice little toy that they unloaded for the coin substation.
It's not that little.
I realize that. How does that compare to other things that we have?
So that's got 115 kV primary voltage. We have 2 other transformers that have that type of voltage at the Baker substation. So it compares in size to those 2.
And
Is that something you spare?
We do not have a spare for that location. So if that transformer presently were to fail, we would have to backfeed Metelco from the Peach substation. So that's our contingency at the moment. And when we went ahead and designed the addition to the sub with ATC, we have an empty bay so that in the future, if load growth continues in that area, we would add that second bay, and then when you have that second transformer, you have that, they're both sized properly, that one or the other can handle the load. But for now, the contingency is to feed it from Beach Sub if this one were to fail. But if you remember, we purchased the better transformer out of the 3 quotes so that it wouldn't fail. So we should be good. Yeah, it's not good.
It's still shiny, so we should be good for at least 20.
20, that's great.
And is Metalco, are they, any indications, are they on schedule?
Last I heard it was a September startup, but I haven't heard recently. I did reach out to their engineering group, asking them how it was going, and I hadn't heard back, so that's never a good sign. But September is the last I heard.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, the general manager's report.
I want to talk a little bit about these power generation units. Any decisions yet?
No decisions yet. I'm sure it will be on the March agenda once we get the refreshed numbers from Burns McDonald. I personally think the Warsaws probably provide a little more flexibility as far as what you can offer as far as MISO standby services and spinning reserve and voltage support and stuff like that. And they're forecasted and they're in 13 megawatt increments, so I think that they'll last significantly longer than those 5 megawatt CAT units. So, but once we get it to a capacity price per month, then we'll have a better way which way to go.
Do you have any idea where this is gonna go?
What we talked about at the legislative rally was once we get the refreshed numbers from Burns McDonald, we think they're gonna be fairly close. So we're just gonna do the detailed engineering and siting and run them against each other and see which one pencils out best, was the latest plan. But that'll be a few months down the road before that's done again.
Any action on Neil Ash replacement?
I think there is. Matter of fact, it may be today and tomorrow where they're interviewing a couple candidates. They decided not to hire another recruiting firm. So we'll see what happens. But he will still be here through the summer for sure. I don't know how much longer, and then may do some work for Lou on the side when he's retired until that new guy gets up to speed. You might see his friendly face before he's done for good.
I thought it was in your report, but it must have been in a different report, but it was neat to see that one of the recent hires was a scholarship recipient.
Yes,
That's
that
pretty
was
cool.
last month's, my report, yeah. Yeah, it was good. She's doing a great job too. She's working for Dale and Filter plants.
So what degree did she actually obtain?
Roxanne?
She went for mechanical engineering and ended up with environmental engineering.
Oh, okay.
She ended up with even a dual degree.
Any other questions of Jim? If not, the review of accounts payable. No questions today? Oh, okay. If that's it, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I'll second.
All in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.